WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. What's up, everybody? It's me, Phil. Phil and friends, and I'm back on another great episode with you, my friends. Listen, I've got two great guys here. Collectively, they're called Sunny Deal, but separately, we got Unkle, Nephew, and BD3. So we're going to go ahead and give it up for them right now, live in the studio. Unkle, Nephew, what's up, brother? And BD3, what's going on, fellas?
How you doing? Thank you for having us.
What up? Good to see y'all.
Thank you for having us.
Good.
So listen, I'm excited to have you guys on. Listen, I was following Unkle Nephew. He was drumming, old school, old soul man. He knows all the old school music. Go ahead and introduce the people to Unkle Nephew. We'll start with you. Who are you?
How you doing? I'm Unkle Nephew, aka Justin Sweeney. You can find me on YouTube. I do drum cover videos, mostly of classic music from the 70s, 80s. That's my bag. I'm a drummer by day. I'm also an engineer. I'm also a producer under the name Unkle Nephew. I just recently released a project with my partner BD3 called Sunnydale and the Sunnydale Instrumentals. That's our second project together. We're working on the third now, and we're under the umbrella creators, founders of True Culture Music.
True Culture Music. And my brother BD3, what's going on, man?
Peace, God. How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
Good.
Peace, God. You know, I was just I'm watching the Ghostface and Raekwon versus, so I gotta get in full, woo mode. How y'all doing? How you feeling?
Hopefully you recorded it, both of you all, because I know y'all were talking about it earlier. So hopefully y'all
they'll have it on YouTube or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. After like the first 5 minutes of watching it, it's gonna be a lot of songs that I don't know. So
okay.
Yeah. See, Unkle Nephew not a true. I'm
not a true thoroughbred hip hop head like that.
You're not a thorough hip hop head like that.
Right.
I am.
Well, let's start. So that's interesting. You guys work together, but we got the old school, we got the new school, right? So it's a good collaboration. Both of you. Let's start with your names. Unkle Nephew. What does Unkle Nephew mean, man? Where you come from?
I got that name. First of all, everybody know I'm an old soul. I'm very into Black culture, but like the height of Black culture, so 60s, 70s, anything prior to the 2000s is really what I rock with. I grew up watching Martin and Good Times. I watched TV One a lot, so they would play a lot of reruns of classic shows. I'm a big fan of old school music. I grew up around older people, so I was always listening to like Grover Washington, Stevie Wonder, a lot of gospel music. I'm a big Michael Jackson fan, so a lot of my early music stems from him. Quincy Jones, a lot of different artists like that. But to get you the name, I was on tour with this group, and one of the cats in the band, he was older than me. He got me into the band. He's like a mentor. He's about 40. He's in his early 40s, and so he realized that I was into a lot of the things that he was into, and a lot of the stuff I knew he didn't know. So he kind of coined me Unkle Nephew, because I was younger than him, but I was like that old soul. So he put it together, Unkle Nephew. And then I even have friends from high school that call me Unkle.
Right.
So it just made sense.
You everybody's uncle, man. You everybody's uncle.
Yeah. So it just made sense to go with the name.
You're like, Uncle, what's up, Uncle? BD3. Yes, what does that name mean, brother? Where we get BD3 from?
Yeah, well, BD3 is an amount. Well, it's an abbreviation of BO the Trio. That was my rap name for a couple of years. And we kind of just I abbreviated it because it just made it easier. Plus, people call me 3 in my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? BO3. Like, you'll catch like some people who know me at least for 20 years plus, they'll call me like these nicknames. But BO meant being original. I was always one of those dudes that would just have an original style. I didn't really follow any particular pattern. I kind of always came with something different, and it's very similar to my the way I approach songwriting and the way I approach music. Nothing is the same. You can't really find one song, two songs that's usually the flow is in the same cadence or in the same vein. Everything is always different. It's always original. At least I would like to believe Believe that. So being original, B.O., you know what I mean, his first name in trio meant, you know, three things, you know, is what you know, what you think you know, and the truth. That was something I would always tell people. So B.O. the Trio was such a long name. Now I remember going on stage, and I always remember, you know, the host always saying B.O. the Trio, B.O. the Trio, and I was like, yeah, it rolls off the tongue, but it's such a long name and it's corny after a while. So I kind of just abbreviated, let it be BD3. Plus, people were always calling me 3 anyway. Okay. So it just made sense to abbreviate that. But I've had a long list of different rap names stemming from back in like 95. I had my first rap name. So like now it's 2021. We stick with BD3.
BD3. Don't be like P Diddy. You know, you go through a bunch of names.
Yeah, man.
Brother Love. You call him Brother Love. Now he changed it. That was the last name.
You ever heard the story behind that?
Crisis.
About who?
Yeah, like how he got his name.
Brother Love, I didn't.
So no, Diddy. I heard this the other day. I was watching. I forget who the cat was, but he was close to Biggie and like the Bad Boy crew. And he said Diddy got his name from Big because he called him Diddy Kong. Familiar with Donkey Kong, so he called him Diddy Kong, which was kind of like a sly kind of thing. And I guess Diddy didn't know, so he took that name on years later. I heard that the other day.
I mean, he did kind of have a Donkey Kong face a little bit. I can see it.
You said Donkey Kong face?
Yeah. I mean, Diddy Kong, Donkey Kong, I could get it. I could, you know, Big, you know what I mean? Big from Brooklyn, so he's snapping. He cutting ass.
That's so funny, man. Listen, let's talk about this project. I want to get into the music and let people see your videos. Let's talk about the Sunnydale project. You guys have collaborated on these wonderful, and correct me if I'm wrong, these videos that we're showing today, is that the collective piece or the separate?
No, those are collective pieces.
Yeah, those are collective pieces. That's you know, the production is done by Unkle Nephew. Okay. You know, it's powered by True Culture, our band, you know, because we sample ourselves. We don't really sample. We don't sample nobody else. We just sample ourselves. It's very important that we solidify that and put that out there. You know what I mean? That's when you hear that music, that's us.
Right. It's all authentic music.
Yeah, that's authentic. Yeah. That's authentic.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about because I'll never forget Uncle Nephew. You like old school music. Growing up, I'll be in the car with mom. She was like, "Oh, they sampled that from back in my day. Or they sampled this." What is that about? Is that a lack of creativity, or is that like an homage to the past when people sample other people's music?
It's definitely homage, but it, to a degree, depending on who it is a lack of creativity. I think even more so now, the way music is, you know, like trap music is like the urban mainstream thing. You could say it's a lack of creativity, but I think it's just an evolution of the music. But you can't take away from the producers, the hip hop producers that were sample based, like a Pete Rock or Kanye West or Just Blaze or DJ Premier. Like there's a long list of hip hop producers who were sample based, but they were so genius in the way that they did it that they flipped it. You know, Jay Dilla is a perfect example of somebody taking a song, flipping it, changing it into something else that doesn't even sound recognizable to the original. You know, so I think it's all in the way that you do it. For me, with sampling, I've just never, for myself personally, I've never found anything creative in it for myself, in my own production. It's just a matter of me not feeling like I did anything. Like, you know, it's, you know, taking a sample, pitching it down and adding drums to it. That's not really making a record. I don't really feel like I've touched it or done anything to it. You know, so I'd rather get in the studio with my band, play it down, you know, and, you know, chop it up and create something new with it, you know, add something new to the lineage of the song, you know.
Absolutely. What do you think about that, BD3? Is it a lack of creativity?
You know, I won't be so forward to say it's a lack of creativity. I do think that there's a difference between people who produce and people who make beats, right? To produce is to hear something and know what's missing. You know what I mean? Know how to bring certain elements, certain magic out of a composition. To make a beat is to make a beat. You know what I mean? We all can make some beats. You know what I mean? But can you make a song? Can you produce it? So that's that. Like, there's two different things. As far as so I don't charge anybody, right? If people beat makers, then they're beat makers. If people say they are producers, then we would need some proof that you can actually bring that out, right? Yeah, we need to see that you can produce something. But if you make beats, then that's what you do. As far as the sampling goes, you know what? I just had a thought. I really think that everybody samples, but not in the same way. You know what I mean? Like, if you even think back to classical music and all that, like, you're drawing inspiration from somewhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You're taking something and creating something new.
Right.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So there is some form of sampling, but in the way that we think about it, that's particular to hip hop. And what Uncle Nephew was saying, that has become a standard for certain people to take a record, pitch it down, throw some drums on it, some 808s. They don't even put a bass line on it. And then they go ahead and they think they got a record. That's not really where it's at. You got to build that from the ground up. Even if you took the idea from somewhere, you now have to synthesize that information and create something new.
Okay. Right. Well,
just to add to that real quick, there's a song out by her. I really like it, called "Damage." It's a great song, and it's a sample of a Herb Alpert and Janet Jackson song produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis from the 80s. Yeah. Have you heard the her song "Damage"?
I haven't.
It's a really good song. It just came out, and I was on Who Sampled yesterday, and I have found out that Queen Latifah and I think Bone Thugs and Harmony also sampled that song, the original record. Right. But the way that her did it, it was very close to the original, but you can tell they added layers on top of it. They produced on top of the sample, and then what she did melodically, lyrically on top of it is incredible. It's a whole new song, but it's the same. It's the original, but it's elevated in a way. She added to the lineage of the song, and I think that's a great example of creative sampling, produced sampling.
So let's go ahead and jump into the music. That's a good point. For the Ancestors, tell us a little bit about For the Ancestors, okay?
For the Ancestors.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll start musically and then I'll let BD3 talk lyrically. For the Ancestors is a song that I had started. It's one of probably the only song, one of two songs on the record that I started in my studio at home. And I started with the chords, and it had reminded me of a Bill Withers song. Forget the name of it, but I just knew on this record that I wanted to talk about the struggle, the Black struggle, our history, and the hook I had came up with. Well, I think BD3 had came up with the hook, but what I had imagined in my head was like people in the cotton field, working in the cotton field, stomping, clapping their hands, singing spirituals and stuff like that. And when we got in the studio, BD3 came up with an incredible hook that just encapsulated all of those feelings of our hatred and our no nonsense towards racism and stuff like that.
All right. So here we go. So for people who watch it, this is all new to me playing videos. So here we go with For the Ancestors. We'll be right back right here on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem.
Coming to see my Lord. Coming to see my Lord. Coming to see my Lord.
Oh, you be playing with. Do you understand me? Fascist. Racist. You racist. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you. You understand me? Do you understand me?
We hereby present this charge. Number one, the establishment. The Organization of Afro-American Unity shall include all people of African descent in the Western Hemisphere. In essence, what it is saying, instead of you and me running around here seeking allies in our struggle for freedom in the Irish neighborhood or
is blue, but I love her. Fuck the world, yeah. Burn down your flag, fuck it, I don't care. You never seen the country.
What in the world? Oh my goodness. What happened? Yo, is it still playing? Are you guys kicked out? Oh Lord. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see if it's not working for me. Okay, let me see if I can pull this back in. Shit. WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. I don't know what just happened. Are we back?
I know what it
guys
is. I know exactly what it is. It's the powers that be. They don't want us to play that video.
Listen, I don't know what's going on. It's Satan. It's the devil. I'm in a hotel. It's probably my audio, y'all. I really apologize about that. Let's see if we can.
The powers that be don't want us to play that video. They know it's true.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue the interview, but I want you guys give the people. What I'll do is I'll put all the links for the video on the chat. Can we do it like that? So make sure that
that's
plays,
cool.
because I don't want to mess up the interview. I apologize to our listeners. If you're listening live, we're gonna play all these songs on the air, and I'll make sure to put the link at the bottom of this YouTube video so you guys can check them out.
Absolutely.
That'll be perfect, right? So give them your Instagram pages right now. So let's talk about that because I don't want it to mess up again.
Yeah. So you can reach me at who is BD3, WHOIS BD3. Who is BD3? If you hit the link in my bio, you'll find every video, all the music from me and Unkle Nephew. And different collaborators, you'll be able to find that. Sunnydale in stores right now. Quapaton stores right now. Sunnydale Instrumentals in stores right now. Everything.
Sunnydale. You know, I want to talk to you guys about Unkle Nephew and I was talking before we got on live about the whole industry, understanding that it's a show and it's also a business. Can you guys talk about that, the aspect, Uncle, about, I'm calling you Uncle now. Talk about that business aspect, because a lot of artists, we were talking about Anita Baker and how Anita Baker, she doesn't own her masters now. And so she's fighting at 60 years old to own her voice, right? Essentially.
Yeah, interesting. There's an echo.
Okay.
Who's echoing? Okay.
Go ahead.
I still hear myself. Okay, I'm good now. But so basically, I was talking to a OG in the industry, and I do drum covers on YouTube, and I usually like to do them to multi-tracks or stems so that I can, freak the mix a little bit. And so I was talking to him, and I had asked him for the stems to the song, respectfully. If he didn't want to give it to me, I was cool with it. But he had said that what he said verbatim was, once I sign the contract from Universal, I'll send them to you. And that struck me. This is a cat that, he was popular in the 80s. He had a huge song, and it's 2021 and he still don't have his masters. You always hear stories, like Mace and Diddy. He didn't have his masters. They spoke about how Biggie didn't have his masters. He was working to get his masters back from Diddy. All these different artists. Prince had an issue with that. A lot of different artists don't own their masters, which is so crazy, because that's what you make your money off of, lifetime. You can make money off tours, but depending on how big your record is, you can make a lot of money off of your publishing for your lifetime. And it can feed your children, grandchildren, stuff like that. So as independent artists, we pride ourselves in having all of our information, all of our I's dotted and all our T's crossed, because we've learned from not necessarily the mistakes of the ones that came before us, but just them not knowing, and I think it's important for musicians to have a BMI or an ASCAP. I deal with this all the time. I was BD3. I was telling Phil earlier, when we do records, we make sure to give each person who contributed to the record, whether they were paid or not, a small percentage, of the record so that they feel that they're taken care of. And, you know, we know we did the right thing. You know?
Absolutely. And it's so important to make sure that you know the business side. BD3, you just want to add to what that conversation, that piece of owning yourself?
Absolutely. I think it's super important to make sure that you own your masters, and I mean, like, your voice. Give me 1 second, sweetheart.
Right.
Thank you. Your voice is your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your intellectual property.
Absolutely.
So if you don't treat it as such, then I mean, you get what you get, right? Like, you get what you negotiate. Like, nobody, like, no, you can't cry over spilled milk. It is a business. You know what I mean? The thing about it is the music business. So the music comes first, but it's also a business, right? So you can get really deep into making the music, but you got to also understand when it leaves your hands, now it's in the business mode. So you got to make sure that the same energy or the same care that you put into the music part, you also have to put into the business. That was a struggle for me the longest. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that, I've never signed any major deal, so I've always been independent. But that was always a struggle for me, to do like the mundane work of the business part. Like, like I'm an idea guy and I'm a creative, so I do like marketing and all that other great stuff. But sometimes the business gets mundane. But it's really important to make sure that you're on top of your stuff, because you don't want to be Aretha Franklin, or not Aretha Franklin, Anita Baker.
Yeah.
In the time where you should be enjoying the fruits of your labor and still having to ask somebody for your shit. That's my shit.
Absolutely.
That's my shit. You ate off my shit.
Right.
All your, no disrespect. This is, I don't want nobody to take this personally, no anti-Semitic shit right here. But all of these Jewish kids going to college, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, that's all for black people's music.
Well, let's just be honest. Everybody's off. Like, the whole America is off of black people. It don't matter what it is. It don't matter what it is. Everybody's on the backs of black Americans. Just to be honest.
Of course, that's point blank. Period. That's just. I mean, the world in itself was built off of the back of Africa. You know what I mean? Period. Right. So that's we don't even gotta say that. But in the music industry, period, like the Jews had it, the Italians had it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had a piece in the racket. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of their lineage has been paid for by the heartbreak, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the fun, all of that of black musicians, black creatives. You know what I mean? And now we're at a point where we could own ourselves and own our talent and own our work. You know what I mean? But people still think about leverage. You know what I mean? Because people think about ownership and they're like, well, I don't want to own 100% of nothing. Right? Like, a lot of people think that way. You know what I'm saying? And there's a delicate balance to play. You ain't gotta give away everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's options.
Absolutely. And it's so important. Now we are in a space where we can read, we know what's going on. We can negotiate contract. We have black lawyers, black attorneys. So it's very important for you to get everything you need to make sure you are successful, and make sure, like Uncle Nephew said, your children's children will be set up. That's with everything. Let's talk about, and I'm tripping, the show must go on, right? I really want to show the video, so I'm going to figure out how to add the videos at the end of the show you guys. That's what I'm thinking about right now. But what would you tell artists who they have a dream, they have a vision, but we're from, I don't know how old your parents are, you guys, but we come from a generation, well, I do, I'm 35, where you need to get a job, you need to do this, you need to do that. But what about those people who want to make it happen and follow their dreams like you guys are doing? What would you tell them, to the young people out there, but they're getting flack from their family and other people?
Just do it. I think when people see you doing the work consistently, they'll believe too. Even though you don't need them to believe. But I just think if you do the work, man, things will fall into place. They say, give to the music, and the music will give to you. You know, just do the work. Don't be afraid to jump out there. You know, this is especially now in the pandemic, this is a great time to create content, create your own content, and just put it out. It doesn't hurt to try. The best thing you can do is try your best, put your best effort out there, and if it don't happen, it don't happen. But it will happen just when you least expect it.
Absolutely. What do you think about that, BD3?
I'm the same age as you, brother. I mean, so I'm getting old.
We're not getting old. We're getting it. I don't know.
You're getting better.
We're getting better. That's good.
We seasoned out here a little bit. We seasoned out here. Uncle Nephew got the old. He got the old soul, but he ain't got the age yet. Right. He ain't got the age yet. Truth be told, man, I think our parents did what they had to do, so we could do what we supposed to do, so that our children could do what they want to do. Right? That's the mindset, right?
I love that. That's good.
But I robbed that from somebody. I forgot. I heard that.
You heard it yesterday.
Yeah.
We both heard it yesterday.
From where? From who?
In the car. We were listening to that interview.
Oh yeah, them hip hop shit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you have a great memory because that's good.
I was like, damn, you heard the verbatim.
Yeah. You see how my brain works, right?
Yeah.
No, but the truth be told, man, I'll just talk about me real quickly. You know what I'm saying? My mom's this old school West Indian lady, right? So education is number one. And if you ain't gonna go to school, you better be working and pay these bills. Right. That's what I did, right? Like that's what I did. I made sure that I never asked for anything. I had it and I could take care, right? But the truth be told, what people want for you, you might not necessarily want for yourself. You know what I mean? Whatever you do want for yourself, you gotta prove that to yourself. Wanting is one thing, and but having it and working for it is a different thing. You gotta really look in the mirror, and you gotta be able to have the fortitude to go through the fire. Like you can't talk about it and not, come on, man. Like take a brother like Rick Ross. That brother ain't get on till he was 36.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. A lot of black celebrities don't start till like 35, 36, which is truth be told, or 40s.
Brother ain't get his look until he's 36 years old. Hove ain't get his look till he was 26, 27 years old. You know what I mean? And also we got to start looking at time, and we can't look at time as our enemy. You know what I mean? We got to embrace that. I feel like I'm getting better with age. You know what I mean? Like I have a 6-year-old. Like there's so much things I can talk about. Back in the day when I was rapping, I was just rapping, for style and skill, to show you my skill and show you my style and da-da-da-da. But, it wasn't so much I could talk about because I was just starting to live. Now I done lived a lot. Now I got a whole lot to talk about.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that we got to start embracing our age and all of that instead of looking at it as a deficit. So I think that, just to go back to it, man, if I'm going to tell the artist, I'm going to be like, hey, man, first of all, know yourself. Know that this is something that you want to do. And hey, don't lie to yourself. If this is not for you and you can't really go for it, that's okay.
Step one.
Yeah, that's all right. That's step one. Like, don't play with it. Don't play with it because there's people who put their years in, right? Like, I done put more than 10,000 hours in this. I'm way past 10 years.
Right. You gotta put it work.
If you can't put at least 10 years, you don't deserve it. Yeah, you don't deserve it. So if you don't got the testicular fortitude to go through this shit, leave this shit alone. You know what I mean? Because it ain't for you. You know what I mean? But
I like that.
if you do decide that it is for you, you know what I'm saying, then be open to learn, be open for opportunities. Keep at it, and just never stop. Don't. Everybody else's success is not yours, so define it the way you define it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you guys for coming on. It's a great conversation. Tell people how to download your music, where to go, I'm gonna put all your information at the bottom of this YouTube video, so I want people to follow you guys. So go ahead and tell people how to follow you and where.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Unkle Nephew, Unkle with a K. On Instagram and Twitter, you can find me on YouTube at Justin Sweeney, SWINEY. That's where I post all of my drum cover videos. We have all of the animated visuals from the new album up there. We're going to be releasing some live at home footage soon, some remote live playing we did for the album, just create new content going. That'll be out soon. You can find the album Sunnydale and Sunnydale Instrumentals on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube. You can find those links in our bios on Instagram. And then BD3 has some projects out that he could talk about.
Absolutely. So if you want to find me on all social media platforms, it's the same thing. Who is BD3? You can find me on YouTube at BD3 Music, where, like, Uncle Nephew said, you'll be able to find all the videos, all the animations, all the video. I co-direct all videos. I mean, that's one of my talents as well, as a visual artist, so I co-direct all of the videos, I mean? It's so dope. True Culture, Noah McNeil. Shout out to Noah. He plays keyboard in our outfit, but he also does the animation, which is cool because we got an in-house person. You know what I mean? So if you're looking to work with him, you got to go through us. But nah, man, you can catch me at Who is BD3 at all social media platforms. Sunnydale is out. Please go ahead and support that. Sunnydale Instrumentals is out. Please go ahead and support that. Trois pour Trois is a small EP that I put out recently. Please go support that. Ain't No Stopping Now by
Marlon
Marlon McClain, featuring myself, is out. That's doing super, super duper well. Please go support that.
Great record.
I got to join out with FK Jazz called Talk, featuring Natalie Oliveri. He's a part of our True Culture outfit. Please go support that. I'm about to be on the remix of my brother's song called No Ceilings. Please go support that. I'm on a lot of records, man.
Man, you making it happen,
a lot of things out here. We doing a lot. We not stopping. I got a series every Tuesday called Talk to Me Nice Tuesdays.
Okay.
Every Tuesday I bring you something nice and something light. And that's all mixed by Uncle Nephew. He does all the mixes. So check it out every Tuesday.
I might need you to make some stuff for me, man.
Hey, man, we got this, man. We're not letting up. We're not letting up.
Well, I love it. Thank you guys so much for coming on air. I appreciate you. Sunnydale, check it out. It's there.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put you guys in the green room. Hold tight for me, all right?
Thank you.
I want to thank BD3 and Uncle Nephew for coming on today. Listen, believe in yourself. You have dreams, you have hopes, you have desires. These two gentlemen showed us today that anything is possible. I'll see you next week, same time, same place, right here on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Peace.